Here's a deep dive into 10 of the biggest scams in history, along with analysis of their implications and recommendations for preventing similar frauds in the future. 1. Bernie Madoff's Ponzi Scheme, 2008. Story: Bernie Madoff ran a massive Ponzi scheme that defrauded investors of approximately $65 billion over several decades. Madoff promised consistent, high returns through a legitimate investment advisory firm. His scheme thrived on new investors' funds, which were used to pay returns to earlier investors. The operation unraveled during the 2008 financial crisis when investors sought to withdraw their money en masse. Madoff was arrested and sentenced to 150 years in prison. Analysis: Madoff exploited trust and reputation, leveraging his position as a former chairman of Nasdaq. His scheme thrived due to the lack of regulatory oversight and the complacency of investors who were unwilling to question his practices. Recommendations: due diligence. Investors should rigorously vet investment opportunities and not rely solely on reputation. Regulatory reforms: stronger regulations and oversight for investment firms could prevent similar frauds. Education: financial literacy programs should emphasize the importance of skepticism regarding too good to be true investments. 2. Enron Scandal, 2001. Story: Enron was an energy giant that engaged in widespread accounting fraud to inflate its stock prices and hide debts. Executives employed complex financial structures and misleading accounting practices, which misled investors and analysts. The scandal was uncovered in late 2001, leading to Enron's bankruptcy and significant losses for employees and shareholders. Analysis: Enron's culture emphasized profits over ethics, leading to a toxic environment where employees felt pressured to conform. The scandal revealed severe gaps in accounting regulations and corporate governance. Recommendations: ethics training. Corporations should implement comprehensive ethics training and foster a culture of transparency. Independent audits. Regular, independent audits can provide a check against fraudulent practices. Whistleblower protections. Strong protections for whistleblowers can encourage employees to report unethical behavior. 3. The Great Salad Oil Swindle, 1963. Story: Anthony De Angelis perpetrated this fraud by falsely claiming to have large amounts of soybean oil stored in tanks to secure loans from banks. He filled tanks with water to simulate the presence of oil. The scheme collapsed when banks began to demand audits, leading to significant losses and the eventual bankruptcy of several banks. Analysis: this scam highlights the importance of proper inventory management and verification processes in the banking sector. De Angelis exploited a lack of diligence in verifying collateral. Recommendations: rigorous inventory checks. Banks should implement strict verification processes for collateral. Technology utilization. Use technology to track and verify inventory in real time. Banking regulations. Stricter regulations on lending practices can help mitigate risks. 4. The Rhanos, 2016. Story: the Rhanos claimed to have developed groundbreaking blood testing technology that could run numerous tests with just a few drops of blood. However, the technology was flawed, and founder Elizabeth Holmes misled investors and patients about its capabilities. Investigations revealed the truth, leading to criminal charges against Holmes. Analysis: the Rhanos showcases the dangers of hype and the cult of personality in Silicon Valley. Investors were drawn in by a charismatic leader and failed to ask critical questions about the technology. Recommendations: vetting startups. Investors should conduct thorough due diligence, including scientific validation of claims. Regulatory oversight. Stronger regulations in health tech can protect consumers from fraudulent claims. Transparency. Startups should prioritize transparency about their technology and processes. 5. The Nigerian Prince Scam Story. This classic email scam involves unsolicited messages from individuals claiming to be wealthy Nigerians needing help to transfer money. Victims are promised a significant reward for their assistance, only to be asked for personal information or fees. Analysis: the success of this scam relies on psychological manipulation, exploiting greed and naivety. It is a reminder of the vulnerabilities present in digital communication. Recommendations: public awareness campaigns. Educate the public about common scams and warning signs. Email verification tools. Develop tools to help individuals verify the authenticity of suspicious emails. Cybersecurity training. Provide training on cybersecurity best practices. 6. Volkswagen Emissions Scandal, 2015. Story: Volkswagen was found to have installed software in diesel vehicles to cheat emissions tests. The scandal revealed that the company had been lying about the environmental impact of its cars, leading to significant fines and a loss of consumer trust. Analysis: the scandal exemplifies corporate greed and a failure to prioritize ethical behavior over profits. It also highlighted weaknesses in regulatory oversight of the automotive industry. Recommendations: corporate governance. Companies should prioritize ethics in their business models and decision-making processes. Regulatory improvements: stricter regulations and oversight can prevent similar deceptions in the future. Environmental accountability: businesses should be held accountable for their environmental impact through regular audits. 7. WorldCom, 2002. Story: WorldCom was involved in a massive accounting fraud where executives inflated the company's assets by $11 billion. The fraud was discovered in 2002, leading to WorldCom's bankruptcy and significant financial losses for investors. Analysis: the scandal was rooted in a corporate culture that prioritized stock price over ethical behavior. It underscored the need for transparency in corporate financial reporting. Recommendations: strengthening regulations. Enhanced regulations on financial reporting can help prevent fraud. Corporate ethics programs. Implementing ethics programs can encourage a culture of integrity within companies. Investor education. Educate investors on recognizing red flags in corporate reporting. 8. David H. Brooks and the 1,800 Flowers Fraud, 2005. Story: David H. Brooks, CEO of 1,800 Flowers, was accused of manipulating the company's stock price through fraudulent practices, inflating earnings and misusing company assets. His actions led to severe financial repercussions for the company and investors. Analysis: this case highlights the vulnerabilities in corporate governance and the potential for executives to abuse their power. It also emphasizes the need for transparency and accountability. Recommendations: board oversight. Companies should ensure strong independent board oversight to prevent executive misconduct. Transparency in financial reporting. Regular audits and transparent reporting can deter fraudulent practices. Corporate governance training. Provide training for board members on their responsibilities and ethical standards. 9. OneCoin, 2014-2017. Story: OneCoin was marketed as a cryptocurrency investment opportunity but was revealed to be a Ponzi scheme. The founders misled investors about the legitimacy of the currency, leading to billions in losses. Analysis: OneCoin exploited the hype surrounding cryptocurrencies and the lack of understanding among the general public. It demonstrated the importance of regulatory oversight in emerging technologies. Recommendations: regulatory framework. Governments should establish regulations for cryptocurrency to protect investors. Investor education. Educational initiatives about cryptocurrencies and potential scams can help prevent fraud. Vetting processes. Investors should rigorously vet any investment opportunities in the cryptocurrency space. 10. The Roman Empire's financial scandal, 33 AD. Story: in ancient Rome, Lucius Aemilius Paulus faced accusations of embezzling funds intended for public projects. He manipulated contracts to inflate costs, leading to public outrage and loss of trust in the government. Analysis: this early example of financial corruption highlights the timeless nature of fraud and the need for accountability in public service. It reflects how personal gain can undermine public trust. Recommendations: historical accountability. Governments should implement checks and balances to prevent corruption. Public transparency. Encourage transparency in public projects to build trust with citizens. Whistleblower programs. Establish programs to protect and encourage whistleblowers in government. Conclusion: these 10 scams illustrate the diverse tactics employed by fraudsters and the profound impact of unethical behavior on individuals, companies, and society as a whole. By fostering a culture of transparency, implementing robust regulations, and educating the public, we can help mitigate the risk of future scams. The lessons learned from these historical frauds emphasize the importance of vigilance, ethical standards, and accountability in all financial dealings.